Good morning. Yes, good morning, fellow Filipino, wherever you are, in Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, or around the world. I hope I will not going to have a nosebleed in today's program because I have to speak in English so that the first and foremost, our intended audience in today's program is Mark Zuckerberg, the creator of Facebook. And so, first off, when Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook, I don't have any idea what his real intention or intentions are. Uh, Now, I once monitored, obscene his speech at Harvard University, and he told his audience, the graduating class, that if ever I could finish my speech today, this is the very first time that I have finished something here at Harvard. So then I know that or what he means is that he have not finished his schooling, his studies at Harvard. He dropped out. Okay, and then he talked about the um, the reasons why they have created Facebook, and I take note of those, and I put it here in my screen in my wall to serve as a reminder for me of what really what really our mission here on earth, as the Bible says, which is the word of God. Be your brother's keeper. And this is exactly what uh, the reasons why Mark Zuckerberg and his team created Facebook. The higher purpose of Facebook, connecting forces of freedom against authoritarianism, isolationism, nationalism. Alam niyo po, oops, I'm not supposed to speak Tagalog. Ah, sorry. You know what? There's a big difference between nationalism and patriotism. Patriotism is loving your country if your country uh, is doing the right thing. Nationalism is loving your country no matter what. Uh, Even if your country is doing bad things to other nations or to your very own people, just like what is happening in Russia, just like what is happening in North Korea, and what is happening in China. Uh-huh. So the people on top of the Communist Party of China doesn't uh, uh, doesn't care about what their party is doing to its people. All right, that's the big difference between patriotism and nationalism. So why I am trying to reach out for Mark Zuckerberg, because I'd like him to, or I'd like his help. For what? I have been restricted by his fact checker here out of what? Sheer incompetent of not, or not knowing what I meant with putting the law into the hands of the sovereign Filipino people as jurors. Perhaps the interpreted it literally. In Filipino, as we call it in Filipino, ilagay ang batas sa kamay ng mga mamayan. Now, let me show you, let me explain where I am coming from so that we could clearly understand each other. Okay? Now, I believe that most of us know, even in the international community, what had happened what had happened in Ateneo several days ago. A certain Dr. Xiao Yumol shoot and killed how many? Three people. The former mayor of Lamitan in Basilan in Mindanao, Rose Forigay. His close aide and a security guard who tried to stop the escape of Dr. Yumol. Even the daughter who is supposedly graduating in Ateneo as a lawyer was what was what hit also by the bullet, although it's not fatal. No, he survived and he's now recuperating. Now, immediately I searched on who is this Dr. Yumol, and I found a video in his Facebook wall. The video, which he has done several months prior to the shootout, no, several months ago. And in this video, he presented his what he presented his he lamented that the government of Lamitan is malfunctioning. Not only the government in Lamitan, but also even the democratic institution in the national government isn't functioning. Right? He told his audience that he even went to see Greco Bellica. Greco Bellica, when he was then a commissioner at the Presidential Anti-Crime Commission. He presented him with his evidences, and it includes evidences to his claim that the Purugay, the political dynasty of Purugay, is also involved in illicit drug transactions in Lamitan. This letter came from the Philippine National Police Drug Enforcement Group, National Police Commission. Right? And this is in response to his letter and the submission of evidences that the Purigas are involved in illicit drug activities. And so, the letter has specifically mentioned that the couple were under their radar, being the third or among the top 10 drug personalities, not only in Lamitan, Basilan, but also in the entire Mindanao. The entire Mindanao. And so they are still conducting surveillance investigation on them. But you know, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg, what is going on in our government? We call it padrino system or patronage politics, right? Wherein the one on top can give you a mantle of protection, a godlike mantle of protection. You can become untouchable even if you are really a menace in this society for as long as you keep also on scratching his back. You know that patronage politics, in other words, meaning I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back. All right, that's scratching the back. Everybody happy. And you know what it is here in the Philippines? A mayor, especially in that part of the Philippines, southern Philippines, can manufacture votes, right? Or at the very least can influence the people whom to vote. And if you are a president with which has something to be covered up after your term, you should like, yeah, to put in the position uh, as president your protege, the one who can defend you no matter what. So this, I mean, you really need the cooperation of the people in the municipalities, particularly the mayors, no? And cities also, the governors, everything, no? Everyone that has something to do with the delivery of either command votes or manufactured votes. You see, that is the ugly face in our uh, fake democratic life here in the Philippines. And so I was convinced. I was convinced that the doctor may have had a point, although that is far from saying that I found his allegation to be the truth. Far from it. All I am saying is that it could be uh, possible. It might have happened. Okay. That's all there is to it. And so, my caption to my article is this. Where is it? Yeah. Okay. So let me read it to you, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. I said something like ilagay ang batas sa kamay natin mga soberanong mga mamamayang Pilipino bilang mga juror sa hukumang trial by jury para wag mamanipula at masindikato ang hudikatura ng mga iniluluklok natin sa gobyerno. Sentido común ni Mr. Juror, PhD, Public Administration. In English, Mark, what I said is that put the law in the hands of the sovereign Filipino people, mhm, as jurors in a trial by jury justice system so that whomsoever we had put in government cannot cannot manipulate uh, what the decision of the courts is. Just like in America. Okay? That's all there is to it. Now, literally, your fact checkers may have construed uh, construed what I said to be literally like I am encouraging the Filipino people to be vigilant or to put up vigilantism. Right? Maybe, not only maybe, but I'm convinced that your fact checkers here are convinced that I am espousing the rule of vigilantism, which is far from it because, like I said, huh, the law must be put into the hands of the sovereign Filipino people as jurors because that is what democracy is all about, isn't it? I'm sure you're well more than just familiar with your jury justice system in the United States of America, wherein the 23 randomly selected impaneled grand jurors are the ones who are to um, uh, uh, scrutinize whether there is probable cause to indict and accuse, right? And what once their verdict or not verdict, once uh, the they have indicted the accused, then it's the turn of the 12 randomly selected trial jurors to hear the case and put up a verdict. In that case, in the case of the jury justice system in America, right, it's more than just very difficult for any government official to manipulate the result of the or I mean the verdict, and that is the gospel truth. So that is what I am espousing here, being sorry, being the founder and the national president of Philippine Trial by Jury movement. Because this is really the key towards good governance. You see, I understand fully well that checks and balances in the co-equal three branches of government, particularly the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary, right, can only be had if the judiciary is composed primarily of jurors, grand and trial jurors. Right? That's the only way a good governance can be had, not just in America, but in every country that every country having a jury justice system. To mention but a few, in United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, even Hong Kong, which is back to the Communist Party of China, Chinese Communist Party, and South Korea, South Korea, the latest to have shifted from trial by judge, which is highly vulnerable, susceptible to machinations of high-ranking government officials, unlike the jury justice system. And so, I appealed. I appealed their decision because that is part of the process. And they did. But, okay, here's what happened, right? He told me, pwede mo i-appeal ang decision para alisin ang content mo. Right, i-appeal na. So, he said, I can appeal or you can appeal the decision and so that your content will be removed. And so I did appeal. Uh-huh. However, However, here comes their final decision. Where is it? No, that is not the one. Okay. So here's the result of their final decision. We confirm that you did not follow our community standards in your post. We review again and your post, and it didn't follow our community standard. And so instead of instead of giving or restricting me for only 24 hours, I am now restricted for 3 days. My goodness. Mm. Now they're not yet finished with me because you know why? I have shared my post in several other groups, and the same thing might um, obviously will happen to those posts, and I would probably be facing around a month of restriction or even more. Now, this is injustice on my part, uh, or because your checkers here don't know nothing about the jury justice system, which is the key for good governance. All right? They don't they don't have an idea, an iota of an idea that in every country, every country is run through its judicial system. And just like in what mm, what they say in quoting maybe Bill Gates, uh, or no, not just Bill Gates, ano. It's a principle in automation that garbage in, garbage out, right? So just because your fact checker here, Mr. Zuckerberg, do not know about the jury justice system, they easily conclude that what I have said, that put the law into the hands of the sovereign Filipino people as juror, no ha, they interpreted it literally. That I am what not pushing, but I am suggesting for Filipinos to go ahead, be on a vigilantism mode. And that is far from what I am trying to tell them. Well, Mark, I have been through this advocacy, and I am now calling it Juro Revolution. And maybe that too might might raise the red flag of your fact checker here. The word Juro Revolution. Maybe they would believe that I am espousing an insurgency here in the Philippines, which is far from the truth. Because all I wanted is for a trial or grand jury and trial by jury in, institute, nabubulol tayo ako, sabi ko naman, nunusbleed ako rito. The institutionalization of grand and trial jury. of jury justice system here in the Philippines, which is the missing link. While why democracy in the Philippines could not run like a well-oiled machine. So I hope you understand. You have well, pardon my English is not so good, but I hope you have understand what I am really trying to tell you, Mr. Mark Zuckerberg. And I hope that you can intercede on my behalf and so that the restriction will be taken off my Facebook account. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Zuckerberg, and I hope that people who may have access to you that have seen this program, this video, would pass this video to you so that you will be notified, so that you can um, maybe be of help to my predicament. At sa sambayan ng Pilipino, muli po ako po nananawagan ng pagkakaisa para sa ating juror revolusyon. O, mamaya po tatalakayin po natin itong ating panukala na nagmula sa ating stateside, California-based lawyer, no ho? Stateside nating consultant, no ha, advisor, no ho? Na tayo po ay maghahain ng petisyon to the Supreme Court for the institution of grand jury and trial jury in our judicial system. We will tackle one by one our grounds on why it must be done and why it should be done. Thank you very much for your time. I hope I have uh, sana po ako po ay nakapagbigay sa inyo ng kahit konting kaalaman no po na nakapagdagdag ng inyong sa kamulatan, kamalayan no ho. At hanggang sa susunod na episode, dapat lang juror ka. God bless us all. God bless Philippines.